A horror movie not recommended by Venom? That's the real scary part. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to 2001 Maniacs. That is the name of the film. It's not like from 2001. I think it's actually from 2005. But yeah, this is a horror film, and it is the next film in our monthly movie week, with our theme being movies with numbers in the titles. Obviously, 2001 is our number. And yeah, I'm very curious about this one because, like I said, I usually don't get horror movies recommended by anyone other than Venom. Venom is usually the horror movie guy. You know, he's my horror movie dealer. He gives me the good stuff. But no, this was recommended by our anonymous donator, who you might have heard about on the channel at various points. They wish to remain anonymous, and so we just refer to them as the anonymous donator or anon. Um, and they have donated a few things here and there sporadically. Um, and they're always kind of like varied in terms of what they are. Um, but I don't think this is the first horror movie that they've donated for because I believe they were the ones who donated for 10 Cloverfield Lane, which, you know, a different kind of horror movie, but still technically horror. But yeah, this one is one I'm interested in because I know nothing about it, and I just the title interests me because the title, you know what it instantly makes me think of for some reason? House of a Thousand Corpses. I don't obviously think this is connected in any way to that, but the title 2001 Maniacs, like, it's just such a weird title, like, way to put it. It's like, oh, this movie is like specifically titled after like just a shit ton of like crazy people. But it gives a very specific number. It's not 2000, it's 2001. Why? And that's what's got me interested. Um but like I said, it also just instantly made me think of House of a Thousand Corpses, which again is it's not as specific because it's like more of a rounded number, but it's just still like 1,000. That's a lot. And House of a Thousand Corpses was a pretty good movie. I think its sequel was better, the first sequel, but still, um, had a lot to love in it. Had a lot to love. Sid Haig was great, an amazing, amazing actor. But yeah, I don't know what to expect from this. I don't know who's in this. I don't know like what the story is. I don't know like what kind of horror it is because there's so many different subgenres of horror. I have no clue. But I was suggested this and not told anything. So that's fun. That's always fun when you're just, suggested a movie and not told anything about it. Which, I mean, I guess is most of them. But a lot of the movies I get recommended, I've at least heard of, and this one I've never heard of. In fact, this one was actually a little tricky to track down. It actually wasn't on like one or two sites I checked, in terms of like what I normally get from. And then there was one site that I checked that uh, had it, but didn't have it available for download. And as you know, I download these movies to make it easier on my computer and to make it easier for the reactions in general. It just, my computer can't handle like browser recording super easily. It'll have issues sometimes, and I would rather not deal with that if I can help it. So yeah. Um, but I was having trouble finding this, but I eventually did. I thankfully eventually found it and got it taken care of. And it's not a long movie. I think it's like under an hour and a half. So it's probably going to be fairly like straightforward. And the fact that it was harder to find probably also means that it wasn't a big name movie, probably an independent film. which I'm all about. I've seen some great indie films, especially in terms of horror. So I think we should just really get into this, check it out, and hope for the best. I think it's just one of those movies we have to check out. Because I don't know what else to say in these pre-thoughts. If I'm being honest, I just don't know what else to say here. So let's get into this movie and see what it's all about. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So Eli Roth's character, I was wondering about this. His character Justin was the guy like at the beginning or near the beginning who had the dog, Dr. Mambo. Apparently that was the same guy from the character was the same character from Cabin Fever. And it's like, oh, so this just takes place in the same universe as Cabin Fever? Okay. What the fuck did I just watch? This is a movie that I could only like expressly describe as ridiculous insanity. It's a ghost movie. It's a ghost story in the end. This entire town and all the people in it are like vengeful spirits, which it's like that's been done before. That's not a big deal. The twist at the end that they're all vengeful spirits was a twist. I didn't see it coming, but it's like what also the tone of this movie, the pacing, it's like hold on. Give me a second here. Okay. So this is listed as a comedy horror. Okay, that at least makes sense. That at least tracks. And yeah, we saw at the beginning it is a remake of a film from apparently 1964, which was just called 2000 Maniacs. But yeah, this came out in 2005, and there is a sequel, and it's just like it's a total what the fuck because it has some big name actors in it. Like you have fucking Robert Englund, one of the biggest names in horror. You have Lynn Shay, who is the grandmother in this. Who's like a famous scream queen who was in like Nightmare on Elm Street, the first two Critters movies, New Nightmare, Dead End, the Ouija movies, and all kinds of other stuff. The Insidious movies. Like Lynn Shay is huge. And it's like I didn't even realize that was her at first, though I did remember seeing her name in the credits. I was like, my mind was like, kind of like, I know that name, but I'm not placing it. I don't want to say something to sound like an idiot. And you had like Kane Hodder have a cameo in this. You had Peter Stormare have a cameo in this. Eli Roth had a cameo, though he was also, helping to make the movie. And it's just like, what? But all the rest of the actors, like whether the ghosts or the main characters, the main crew, the students, and everyone, almost all of them are really, really poor actors. Like, I mean, I've seen worse, I guess, but like they're not they're not good. I don't know if like this was early like films for them, or if they just never like really made it like big time and never really got a chance to like do have a lot of heavy improvement in their acting. Um, but it's like they were so off, and I feel like people who are smarter than me would know how to describe it better. But that's just the best way I can figure out how to describe it. They are so off. They're so like everything they say, every bit of dialogue, every like action and all. I think there were two who like stood out as being better for me. Let me see if I can get their names here real quick. Um, okay, so there was Mushand Lee, I believe is the right one, and that was Malcolm. That was the guy, the motorcycle guy, with his girlfriend Leah. And the other one who I think like was notably better than the others was Marla Malcolm, who played Joey. She was the blonde girl who survived until the end. Robert Englund had fun with it. Like he was clearly having a good time. Lynn Shay was having a good time. They were just embracing the insanity. And so I have no real huge issue with them, but like and Peter Stormare was actually great for the small role he had. He like did a really good performance in that small little scene that we saw him in. But like everyone else was like so over the top. Like where are you here? Wendy Kremer, who was Peaches. Oh my god, she was so ridiculous. Like even before the entire metal fang demon thing came in, like she was like so over the top in every little motion, every little bit of dialogue. And then you had like the other main characters like Kat and Corey and Anderson. And it's just like they were all just so aggressively over the top and silly. It's like it was weird. Then you the Milkmaiden, Hucklebilly, the cousins. It's like all these performances felt silly. And I mean, it was a horror comedy, so to a degree, it's meant to be a little bit silly. Like that's clearly the intent. It seems like it's meant to be like kind of a satire on like southern hillbilly horror kind of stuff. Um, where it's like you have like these, you know, these southern hillbilly characters who have like the extreme racism, um, the Confederate eye patch and shit, and like talking about like how they were killed by the Union soldiers and everything. And it's just like it's so over the top ridiculous. Um, but this is a horror movie that features a lot of like bloody deaths. Let's talk about that. The blood felt very watery for like just from looking at it, it looked very watery, like a little too watery. But other than that, I actually like the deaths. I think the deaths were one of the best parts of this movie. All of them stood out. And in a movie like this that almost feels like it's hard to do, but I feel like every single death here was unique, interesting, and impactful. Like even the ending one at the very end with our two survivors ending up getting killed in the same way like they did on like the Ghost Ship movie. Like have you ever seen that like old movie that's like played on sci-fi all the time? Ghost Ship or whatever it's called. Where it's like at the very beginning it's like everyone there's the wires that like bisects everyone and everything and like slices some people like through the mouth like Joey was here, or some people get their heads chopped off, some people it's through like the torso depending on their height because the wire comes from the same angle and all. And it's just like it's this really powerful scene from a movie that's pretty standardly seen as a little subpar, not like horrible but just not that great. But everybody agrees that opening scene from the movie is phenomenal. Like, it's actually probably one of the best received horror scenes out there in like at least since 2000, because I think it's early 2000s that came out, something like that. But like, people love that scene even if they don't love the rest of the movie. Um, but that ending death here very much reminded me of that. But then you have like the cotton presser, you have the impalement from the ass to mouth and everything, the dude getting head from Peaches, and stuff. And it's like each death was unique and interesting. Leia getting smashed by the bell. It's like they weren't like the most spectacular deaths. Like, this isn't like Terrifier or shit where it's like, oh, we're just gonna make each death like as crazy as possible. No, it's like, again, getting crushed by a bell, a cotton press, or getting impaled. It's like pretty simple stuff, all things considered. Um, Drawn and quartered. It's like that one was like, I don't know if I've seen. I feel like I probably have, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I don't know if I've seen that in a horror movie. And it's just, it's so interesting in terms of how it's done. I think the deaths were definitely the best part. The movie was like absolutely insane, like I said, in terms of tone and pacing, though. The movie was like an hour and what, 20, 25 minutes? And it felt so much longer. But also, scenes cut in really weird ways. There were really random intersections at points. Like, oh, characters will be talking. All of a sudden, dude runs by chasing after the sheep again. It's like, what? Huh? And it'll do that. Sometimes it'll cut between two different scenes going on at the same time, and it'll just cut back and forth every few seconds. And it's like, what is happening? It was weirdly put together. There was also points where the audio fell off, like the audio was mixed wrong at points, and certain characters were quieter than others. Um, it wasn't the entire movie, but there were points where that was notably annoying. And overall, I just found this to be like so baffling, because again, it was so over the top. It was so like on the nose with all of its like humor and styling and, you know, jokiness about the southernness and everything about it. It was just, this is such a freaking crazy film. I've seen plenty of horror comedies, and none quite in this style, none quite with this kind of zaniness and weirdness. It was such a bafflingly put together film, but kind of in a great way. Um, I do kind of want to see how the original from the 60s like compares. And there is a sequel to this one, so I don't know if it's a direct sequel. Well, I mean, all of our main cast are dead, so I don't know how it would be, but I don't know. I don't know. But I'm very curious to see what happens in that. Like, if it's a direct, like I said, a direct sequel, or if it's more like just the same basic thing, just with different actors and characters. But this was like so wacky and wild, and I'm glad I got to it. I'm glad that you donated for it, Anon. So thank you for that. Um, I very much doubt, at least I kind of hope, that none of the other movies we get to this week are this kind of crazy and wild and zany. But based on the other movies we are getting to, what I know of them, I'm not going to tell you what they are. We're keeping that a secret. But what they are, I'll tell you right now, I don't think they're going to be, because some of them I have heard of, so. But all of that being said, tell me what you thought of this movie down in the comments below. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.